Have you ever felt that crushing sense of embarrassment after doing something in public and instantly wishing the ground would swallow you whole? Maybe it was saying the wrong thing, overreacting, or losing control in front of people. Now imagine if every man knew the invisible rules of public conduct, rules that powerful figures, from princes to CEOs, have followed for centuries. Machiavelli, the man whose name has become synonymous with cunning strategy, warned us long ago. How you present yourself in public shapes everything: your influence, your relationships, your very reputation. One slip, one careless action, and you hand over power to everyone watching. Today, I'm going to reveal 9 things you should never do in public. Lessons straight from Machiavelli's playbook, fused with modern psychology and social strategy. By the time you finish this video, you'll understand the subtle codes that separate the ordinary man from the one who commands respect, attention, and even desire without uttering a single unnecessary word. Public spaces are battlegrounds. Streets, cafes, bars, offices, even gyms. They're theaters where every action is scrutinized, often subconsciously. People are constantly assessing status, confidence, and value. And here's the brutal truth: most men fail. They betray themselves by acting impulsively, by revealing insecurities, by trying too hard to impress. Machiavelli said, "Men judge more by appearances than by reality." And he was right. In public, perception is reality. So the question becomes, are you projecting strength, control and dignity, or weakness, desperation and chaos? Let's break it down step by step. 1. Never lose your temper in public. Have you ever felt that sudden surge of anger when someone bumps into you on the subway, in a bar, or even at a cafe? It's instant. Your face flushes, your chest tightens, and you feel that primal urge to shout, argue, or push back. In the moment, it feels justified. After all, that person invaded your space, disrespected you, and maybe even embarrassed you. But here's the brutal truth most men don't realize. The world isn't paying attention to the injustice, they're watching you. Machiavelli warned, a man who cannot control himself will never control others. Emotional outbursts are like waving a neon sign over your head that says, I am ruled by my feelings. And in public, this is fatal. Women, colleagues, even strangers unconsciously assess whether a man is reliable, composed, and in control. Lose your temper, and you instantly signal weakness. Now imagine Daniel, a man in London who knew exactly how dangerous public anger could be. One night at a crowded club, a drink spills on him. Everyone sees it happen. His first instinct? Clench his jaw, feel the irritation, maybe even explode. But instead he pauses. He nods at the person, offers a slight smile, and walks away. Within minutes, 2 women approach him, not because of his words, but because of the aura he projected. Calm, unshaken, composed, that small pause, that tiny act of restraint, transformed an embarrassing moment into an unspoken display of power. This is the hidden law of public conduct. Your calm becomes magnetic. When the world expects chaos, composure shocks it. When everyone else reacts impulsively, you rise above. This isn't just about avoiding embarrassment. It's about control. Emotional mastery in public signals dominance, intelligence, and stoic confidence, the kind of traits that attract respect, desire, and influence. So the next time someone cuts in line, spills a drink, or insults you publicly, remember, Daniel, breathe, smile slightly, pause. Let everyone else reveal themselves, while you remain the silent rock in the storm. This is how the powerful act in public, and this is the essence of never losing your temper. Power is quiet, patience is loud, and composure is remembered long after anger fades. To never brag or show off, there's a reason Machiavelli said, it is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. Public bragging seeks admiration, approval, and attention, but it always backfires. Flashing money, announcing your achievements, or casually dropping, I run 3 startups in a conversation might feel like power in the moment. But here's the truth. People notice desperation long before they notice success. Let me take you to Los Angeles. Picture a man walking into a networking event, loudly announcing his wealth and accomplishments. Everyone nods politely, but in their minds, they're rolling their eyes. Bragging doesn't command respect, it invites judgment. Power is felt, not shouted. It's subtle, quiet, and undeniable. Michael, a financial consultant in Sydney, understood this instinctively. At a conference, he mentioned a rare vintage wine during a casual conversation. not to impress, but because it genuinely interested him. Nobody knew he was a millionaire, yet the room gravitated toward him. People were intrigued, not because of what he said, but because of the understated confidence he exuded. His power didn't need to be announced. It whispered. This is the critical lesson for men today. Influence grows in silence. Competence and dignity shine brighter than any public declaration. Show off too much and people see insecurity masked as pride. Stay quiet. Act with confidence and let others discover your value naturally. Women, colleagues, and even competitors notice subtle authority. They respect it far more than overt display. Think of it this way. When you stop trying to prove yourself, you become untouchable. You are no longer chasing admiration, you are commanding it. The modern man who embodies this principle doesn't need to yell about his success. Success is visible in his presence, in his calm interactions, in the aura of mastery he projects. Bragging, showing off, or publicly seeking validation is the fastest way to erode respect. Let your actions speak. Let your life, your achievements, and your quiet confidence reveal your power naturally. This is not arrogance, it's mastery. And mastery always attracts attention, desire, and influence without a single boast. 3. Never beg for attention. Public attention is like a rare currency, highly valuable, fleeting, and easily devalued. Yet most men give it away freely, chasing likes on social media, overcompensating with jokes, or forcing themselves into conversations where they're not wanted. This is begging disguised as social engagement, and it's one of the fastest ways to destroy attraction and respect. Machiavelli observed, men are driven by desire for gain and fear of loss. Begging for attention reveals a deep fear of irrelevance. You're signaling that your worth depends on the approval of others. Nothing kills influence faster than neediness. Consider James in Manchester. At a party, he noticed a group laughing without him. Most men would force their way in, attempt a joke, or awkwardly insert themselves. Not James. He excused himself politely, moved to another circle, and returned later with calm, quiet energy. Suddenly, the same people who had ignored him were drawn in, curious and eager to include him. Why? Scarcity and confidence create desire. Desperation destroys it. This is a critical lesson in both dating and social dynamics. Your value is enhanced when you are selectively present. When you chase attention, you're signaling low status. When you step back and maintain your composure, your presence becomes magnetic. Women, friends, colleagues, they notice a man who doesn't seek validation. He commands it. In the modern world, this applies to more than parties. Social media posts, public debates, even workplace interactions, all are arenas where neediness undermines authority. The man who remains calm, selective, and composed instantly gains influence. He becomes memorable not through performance, but through strategic absence and the quiet assertion of self-worth. So remember James in Manchester. The lesson is simple: never beg for attention. Let people come to you. Let presence, composure, and subtlety do the heavy lifting. The modern man who masters this rule doesn't compete for recognition. He earns it effortlessly. 4. Never complain or whine. Nothing screams weakness more than a man publicly complaining. Slow service, bad traffic, long lines, or minor inconveniences when voiced aloud. These small frustrations transform a man from stoic to petty. Complaints reveal vulnerability, insecurity, and a sense of entitlement. And in the eyes of others, especially women or colleagues, it's immediately unattractive. Machiavelli emphasized endurance and resilience. A man who cannot tolerate discomfort in public, cannot navigate private challenges or professional adversity. Public whining is a visible display of weakness. Composure in the face of frustration is power. Take Michael in New York. He was stuck on a delayed train, a crowded, suffocating, uncomfortable situation. He had every reason to grumble, sigh, and complain to anyone who would listen. Instead, he observed the people around him, made a subtle, witty remark to lighten the tension, and maintained calm. People noticed his poise more than the delay itself. He became in that moment a silent figure of influence, someone whose composure demanded respect without a single boast. The lesson is profound. Life is filled with minor frustrations. Most men react impulsively, allowing these small moments to shape their image. The powerful man acts differently. He maintains dignity, exercises patience, and converts frustration into subtle, unnoticed mastery. In dating, work, and social situations, this principle is gold. Women unconsciously associate complaints with emotional instability. Colleagues perceive chronic whiners as unreliable. But the man who maintains calm regardless of circumstance projects authority. Every complaint you suppress, every minor irritation you handle quietly, becomes a small victory in public perception. You are no longer reacting, you are orchestrating your image. This is the hidden power of composure. Remember, influence is quiet, dignity is potent, and restraint is irresistible. 5. Never over-explain yourself. Nothing undermines authority faster than over-explaining. When a man publicly justifies his actions, defends his opinions, or elaborates excessively, he signals insecurity. People unconsciously read it as, "I am unsure. I need your approval." Confidence is silent. Insecurity is loud. Machiavelli wrote, "He who deceives will always find those who allow themselves to be deceived." In other words, subtlety and ambiguity create intrigue. Over-explanation destroys mystery, weakens authority, and makes you forgettable. Consider Emily in London. She saw a man endlessly defending every post he made on social media while in a cafe. He felt the need to justify his choices, to ensure everyone understood him. Emily lost interest almost immediately. Later she met Daniel, a man who never explained himself. He acted with quiet confidence. His opinions were firm, his actions decisive, and his demeanor mysterious. She couldn't stop thinking about him. Over-explaining is often a trap of the ego. Men fear judgment, so they feel compelled to clarify themselves. The result? They appear needy, insecure, and ordinary. The modern man understands this. Ambiguity and quiet confidence are far more powerful than clarity and chatter. This principle extends to every aspect of life: dating, business, or social interactions. Speak less, act more. Let your competence, composure, and aura do the talking. By withholding explanation, you create curiosity, intrigue, and unspoken authority. Over-explaining is the subtle killer of attraction and respect. Master the art of quiet confidence. Act decisively. Let others wonder, question, and ultimately respect you for the restraint and strength you silently project. 6. Never engage in public arguments. Have you ever watched someone argue in public and felt secondhand embarrassment? Maybe it was a friend shouting at a waiter, a colleague debating loudly in the office hallway, or a stranger confronting another on the street. At first glance, it seems like courage, but in reality, engaging in public arguments is one of the fastest ways to destroy respect, influence, and attraction. Even if you are right, victory in public disputes is rarely yours. Human psychology favors drama over reason. Observers rarely judge based on facts. They judge based on perceived strength, composure, and dominance. If you raise your voice, flare your temper, or insist on proving a point in front of a crowd, you immediately label yourself as impulsive, reactive, and emotionally unstable. Machiavelli warned, "Pick your battles, but never fight in front of the masses." A true man of power maintains influence, not through loud confrontation, but through calm, strategic action. Imagine a scene in Sydney. A street altercation erupts outside a cafe. Two men are arguing, voices rising, hands gesturing. One steps back, remains silent, and addresses the situation later privately. The other yells, gesticulates, and escalates the tension. Guess which man people remember with respect? The calm, composed one. His restraint signals authority. The loud one? He's remembered as hot-headed and unreliable. This principle extends far beyond street arguments. In offices, networking events, social gatherings, even dating scenarios, public confrontation almost always backfires. Women, colleagues, and even strangers subconsciously avoid men who are easily provoked. The modern man understands that power is subtle. He does not need to dominate every conversation or prove himself right in front of a crowd. Instead, he manages perception, controls his emotions, and resolves conflicts strategically and privately. Next time you feel the urge to argue publicly, pause. Ask yourself, will this elevate my influence or erode it? Mastering this restraint not only protects your reputation, it makes your words and actions in private far more powerful. Calmness in the face of provocation is magnetic. Silence in conflict often speaks louder than any argument. 7. Never show neediness. Nothing destroys attraction faster than neediness. And by neediness, I don't just mean desperation in dating. It applies to friendships, professional settings, and public perception. Public displays of dependence, validation-seeking, or attention-hungry behavior are instantly off-putting. Women, colleagues, and even casual acquaintances subconsciously recoil from men who appear needy. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. Power flows to those who are self-contained. A man who appears dependent, desperate, or insecure in public surrenders his sovereignty. He signals to the world that his value is external, not inherent. Conversely, the self-sufficient man communicates control, strength, and confidence, qualities that draw attention and respect naturally. Take Sarah in Toronto, for example. She noticed it repeatedly in dating, men who texted obsessively after brief encounters, posted needy social media comments, or constantly sought reassurance. None of these men maintained long-term interest. In contrast, the man who walked away after a brief interaction, who never begged or sought approval, instantly became irresistible. Absence calm, and self-reliance sparked desire, far more effectively than any display of effort or charm. Neediness is contagious. It signals low status and insecurity. The modern man recognizes that his attention is earned, not begged for. By remaining unattached to immediate validation and projecting quiet confidence, he increases his social and romantic leverage. Women, friends, colleagues, they all notice the man who does not chase. They feel his presence, sense his composure, and respect his boundaries. The key lesson: self-sufficiency is magnetic. Never reveal desperation or emotional dependency publicly. Instead, cultivate inner confidence, maintain calm composure, and engage selectively. When you do this consistently, people are naturally drawn to you not because you demand it, but because you embody the rare, irresistible combination of independence, mystery, and strength. 8. Never humiliate yourself. This is subtle but deadly. Laughing too loudly at your own jokes, oversharing intimate failures, or performing theatrics to gain favor is public self-sabotage. Machiavelli emphasized reputation as currency. Every action shapes perception. Once you publicly humiliate yourself, perception becomes reality. People don't forgive mistakes, they remember weakness. James in New York learned this the hard way at a bar. Overeager, over-the-top humor to impress a woman backfired, leaving him embarrassed. Lesson learned: maintain dignity always. 9. Never ignore social cues. The final trap men fall into is ignoring subtle social feedback. Eye contact, body language, tone, all are constantly signaling your place in the social hierarchy. Ignoring these cues is like walking blindfolded into a battlefield. Machiavelli understood this intuitively. Perception and timing often matter more than intention. Misreading a social cue in London or Sydney could turn admiration into disdain instantly. Take Daniel again. He adjusted his conversation style mid-discussion based on facial expressions and subtle signals. People were drawn to him effortlessly. Understanding the invisible currents of public perception is the ultimate secret weapon. Conclusion. So let's summarize. Never lose your temper. Never brag or show off. Never beg for attention. Never complain or whine. Never over-explain yourself. Never engage in public arguments. Never show neediness. Never humiliate yourself. Never ignore social cues. Every action you take in public either strengthens your reputation, commands attention, and builds desire, or destroys it instantly. Machiavelli knew that power and influence are often won and lost in subtle, public moments. The modern man who masters these rules is untouchable, respected, desired, and remembered. Remember, the world is watching. People are always judging, consciously or unconsciously. Your public behavior is your silent statement to everyone around you. Make it a statement of mastery, dignity, and control. And here's the truth most men never realize. Influence is not about being loud or flashy. It's about quiet power. About restraint, confidence, and knowing exactly what never to do. Master that, and the world bends in ways most men will never understand. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.